pie night. I saw the campers making them earlier. They looked yummy. I hope they used all the correct ingredients.
The right ingredients are very important. I learned that the hard way.
I hope they used a yummy crust, Oreo cookies, Oreo pudding, milk, and Cool Whip, and followed the recipe in the correct order.
I hope they did too, because one of my favorite campers, you know who you are, told me that they made an Oreo pie just for me. Do you know where they put it? Because did they put my name on it? I was hoping I could eat it.
No, you need to wait until tomorrow night to get an Oreo pie. And you have to buy it.
But they said they made it for me, and I had hoped to eat it for my bedtime snack in bed tonight.
You can buy it tomorrow night like everyone else.
Well, I hope I can at least be first in line. Do you think they'll be sold out?
That's a lot of hoping. That makes me think, what is hope?
Hope is the desire for a certain thing to happen. For example, I hope I can eat my Oreo pie soon.
Our Bible story is about a man who was blind from birth. I wonder if his parents ever hoped he would be able to see. I wonder if he ever hoped he could see. The story goes like this. As Jesus was walking along, he saw a man who had been blind from birth. Rabbi, his disciples asked him, why was this man born blind? Was it because of his own sins or his parents' sins?
It was not because of his sins or his parents' sins. This happened so the power of God could be seen in him.
Then Jesus spit on the ground, made mud with his saliva, and spread the mud over the blind man's eyes. He told him,
go wash yourself in the pool of Siloam.
So the man went and washed.
I can see.
His neighbors and others who knew him as a blind beggar asked each other,
isn't this the man that used to sit and beg?
Some said he was, and others said,
no, he just looks like him.
But the beggar kept saying,
yes, I am the same one.
They asked,
who healed you? What happened? The man they called Jesus made mud and spread it over my eyes and told me, go to the pool of Siloam and wash yourself. So I went and washed, and now I can see.
Where is he now?
I don't know.
Then they took the man who had been blind to the Pharisees, because it was on the Sabbath that Jesus had made the mud and healed him. The Pharisees asked the man all about it. So he told them,
he put the mud over my eyes, and when I washed it away, I could see.
Some of the Pharisees said,
this man Jesus is not from God, for he is working on the Sabbath.
But how could an ordinary sinner do such miraculous signs?
So there was a deep division of opinion among them. Then the Pharisees again questioned the man who had been blind and demanded,
what's your opinion about this man who healed you? I think he must be a prophet.
The Jewish leaders still refused to believe the man had been blind and could now see. So they called in the parents.
Is this your son? Was he born blind? If so, how can he now see?
We know this is our son and that he was born blind, but we don't know how he can see or who healed him. Ask him. He is old enough to speak for himself.
His parents said this because they were afraid of the Jewish leaders who had announced that anyone saying Jesus was the Messiah would be expelled from the synagogue. That's why they said, he is old enough, ask him. So for the second time, they called in the man who had been blind and told him,
God should get the glory for this because we know this man Jesus is a sinner. I don't know whether he is a sinner, but I know this. I was blind and now I can see.
But what did he do? How did he heal you?
Look, I told you once. Didn't you listen? Why do you want to hear it again? Do you want to become his disciples too?
Then they cursed him and said,
you are his disciple, but we are disciples of Moses. We know God spoke to Moses, but we don't even know where this man comes from. Why? That's very strange. He healed my eyes, and yet you didn't know where he comes from. We know that God doesn't listen to sinners, but he is ready to hear those who worship him and do his will. Ever since the world began, no one has been able to open the eyes of someone born blind. If this man were not from God, he couldn't have done it. You were born a total sinner. Are you trying to teach us?
And they threw him out of the synagogue. The Jewish leaders were reading the Torah and waiting for the Messiah. They had hoped he would come.
But when he came, they didn't recognize him. They didn't have faith and believe. We have faith in Jesus, and we have hope that he's going to return, just like he said he will.
What do you hope for in your life? Put your faith in Jesus and hope for Jesus to return.